Sensation back at you. Going on another marketplace hunt, find, whatever you want to call it. We're getting ready to go do it now. It's going to be about a 20-minute ride for me, so not super far. They have a lot of stuff, so I'm only focused on a couple of things. I'm going to tell you guys and gals that right now before I head out. And then I'll show you when we get in the car. Always do the GPS stuff, but I'll turn some lights on in here. There's our 6th gen Marketplace motherboard right there, laying on top of our case. That we had the problem with the 7th gen. And what you don't know is we had a problem with the 4th gen in it. And what you don't know is that I actually put the Alienware R7 in here. So that's what's in it now, and I have it working. But I don't have the IO shield for it yet. So I don't want to do anything with this board, but I got to get rid of this computer. So we have the IO shield for the 6th gen Intel board we bought. So the two things I'm mainly focusing on for this build today are a 7700 CPU, i7 7700K, and more memory for this thing. So that's my focus as I go over here, but they also have another motherboard and some other stuff, and I have to get a power supply and some cabling to take with me to hook this thing up. So I will work on doing that, getting it loaded up in the car, and we're going to head off to our Marketplace Find today. And then I'll let you know what we end up with after I get done. And unfortunately, I'll let you know with how much it lightened up my wallet. So hang tight. Let's get this hunt on, and let's get the Marketplace finds coming in. All right, we have made it back. I'll show you what's in the box. Disregard the power supply because I brought that with me to test stuff. But we have scored another EVGA GTX 1070. And this case, it's a FSP, and I'll have to go over it when we get inside. So we have basically a complete build in there. You see the Gigabyte motherboard. 7th gen 7700K is a processor, Cooler Master, liquid cooler. All the memory down there, which I think might be 32 gigs laying in there. I think it's 4 8-gig modules. Wi-Fi. And for all of you that told me I need a streaming card, well, there may be one of those in there as well. So I'll get this stuff inside. We're going to get it out of the car now. I'll get it inside. It didn't take too long to go over there. It probably took more time to hook it up and test it. But the case is pretty cool, actually. It's kind of like my Cooler Master case in respect that it's got glass panels on each side, and I got the panels backwards. I think that's the back panel, or no, I don't know. I might have them right. I don't. We'll look at it when we get it in the house and get it set up and go over that part of the video. But I also, on this video, want to wish all the fathers out there happy Father's Day. That's right, because I did this on Father's Day. So this was my Father's Day Marketplace hunt and find. And I actually bought it off who is now one of my YouTube subscribers. So that was pretty cool. Thank you, Bree. She knows who she is when she watches this. And that's it for now. I'll get it set up and we'll go over it again. All right, we're back with today's Marketplace find. I'll call it the Father's Day Marketplace find, actually. Here's our graphics card we picked up today. So we got an EVGA GTX 1070 right there. I have another cooler just like this, another EVGA card, but it's a 1070 Ti. It's actually right here. It's slightly heavier though, the Ti is. But there's our graphics card. You're looking at pretty much a full computer. It was missing the power supply, but the motherboard, processor is all there. It's a Gigabyte motherboard. We're going to hook it up and test it for you today. I'll show you everything I got while we're doing this. So I got you set up where you can see. We have a Gigabyte gaming. Oh, what is it? I don't know exactly. It's a Gigabyte gaming motherboard though. I don't see a model on it just yet. But don't mean that it's not on there, because It could be, and a guy's old and his eyes just ain't seeing it. There we go. It's a GA-Z270X Ultra Gaming. So this has a 7th gen Intel 7700K in it. I'm actually going to take this back to her. I don't usually use the 120 millimeter coolers. You guys and gals know I use the air coolers a lot. My power supply, the 750 watt, which sucks because I'm not going to be able to test the 1070 with this build because I don't have enough PCI Express slots to test it. Maybe I can come up with nothing, or maybe we can actually use the SATA one. I don't like doing that, but for testing purposes, you know, it might just work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this CPU cooler. I'm going to have to take it back because I don't use these, number one, and I think she needed it. So I'm going to take it back to her, and I'm going to pick up the power supply plate that goes on the back of this case. So I didn't even notice that when I picked the case up earlier, but she said that she has the plate, so I'll pick that up from her at a later time. And I don't need it immediately to build the case anyway. And we just dropped one of those screws, I'll have to find it. But we're going to take these out and mount this to the back where it's not in the way. And I'm not going to worry about hooking RGB or any of that up. We're just setting this up to test it for the video. That is an FSP case. And it's got the... I don't know where that screw went. Great. Grand. Perfect. Right? Story of my life. Lost the screw out of the back of it and can't find it. That's the nice part about having, you know, just boxes of screws, though. Is if you can't find it, just go through your box and you'll find another one. I believe I got it here. It's a little bit of work. This FSP case has a plate, obviously, for the power supply to mount on, and this one was missing it. So we don't have that. We'll have to test it with my 1050 graphics card because we don't have, but no, we don't. I got the SATA I got the fire death adapter. Don't use these. But for testing purposes, we're going to do it anyway, right? So, some of you will be happy to see this. That is an Elgato HD60 Pro capture card. So I went ahead and picked that up to start playing with it because I heard a couple of commenters say that I need a capture card for my screen records and stuff like that when I'm testing these, and I tend to agree with them. I think it would make the quality of the videos better, so we got us a capture card. And of course your standard Wi-Fi adapter here. So we got one of those too. We'll just throw that in there and test it. When we test it, we're testing it for light up and stuff. I can go ahead and give you the spoiler alert. I have already done that. I took the power supply with me just to do that. So the testing part has already happened. We're going to put the screws in this thing just to hold this up while we put a graphics card and memory in it. And I'm going to fast forward you so we don't waste the whole video doing it. Alright, we got it fired up. We are lit up on the keyboard and stuff. Let me flip you around. There we go, right there. We don't have a hard drive hooked to it, but that don't matter because we're in here and we can show you what we got. I don't know if we got a memory stick dead or what. Something is not kosher and right with that memory, I can tell you that. All of our slots are lit up though. Everything on the board's lit up right. Take a look right there. There's the 4 memory modules in it. There's the Cooler Master CPU cooler. We had to test it with the 1050 because this is why I don't use the 750 Thermaltake Tough. I just don't have the cables for it, guys and gals. So therefore we can't test the 1070 in here with this power supply. And that's why this is just a test bench power supply. But it ain't a good one for that either. Mostly because we can't test the... We just can't test what we need to. I can hear the... Alright, we'll start that fan in the back anyway. I can hear the pump running for that. I don't use 120 liquid coolers. You guys and gals know that. I'm going to take that back to her because we don't need it. This is it though. I can show you one of the problems I ran into at her house. And it has to do with USB ports. So you can see we're plugged into the top left right here. And we got a mouse that's working, just to show you that. Let me go down here though. I want to switch to this port, which is going to be your 2 USB 3.0s. We're going to go into one of them. Okay, we got that one on. Let's go down here and test all these. We got one dead port on it right there. So that USB 2.0 port right here on the bottom left does not respond. However, if we switch over to the one next to it, it does respond. So we definitely have 1 or 2 dead USB ports on it. That's what's wrong with the board for the most part, but it looks like the CPU cooler's working. Let's see if we can get in here and take a look at what we have. We'll go to System, Z270X Ultra Gaming. F2's the BIOS from 11/24/2016. You can see the date and times right, which means the battery's good on it. So that gives you the rundown of the board. Windows 8 and 10 features. Okay. Let's go over again. I'm just going to try to find the information on it. Usually it'll show you. What's MIT? Advanced frequency, memory, voltage, all that. We don't want to mess with that. We don't want to mess with none of that. There's the BIOS stuff. Boot options. I don't have a hard drive hooked up to it because I'm out of them. We're going to have to get some more of them too. Intel Trusted Platform Technology. That's probably 1.0 on this board. Trusted Computing, BIOS card, network stack, NVMe, USB configuration. Chipset, Intel graphics, audio. Alright, so just your standard. You can see everything in the BIOS responds fine. I do know we have a 7700K because the cooler was off of it. But you can see we got it to light up and work so far. We'll have to get a hard drive in it and a different power supply to be able to test different things. I got to go back by because I got to go back by where I got it and get the mounting plate for the power supply. But this power supply is not going to stay in it. We're going to go a different direction with the build. This is actually going to go in last Tuesday's video, that computer. So I bought it initially to get the 7700 with a dead USB port on it. That makes perfect sense. And I want the 7700 to put in our other motherboard, our 6th gen Intel, so we can get that ready to go. And then we got this case that's going to either house the Alienware build or a different build. So this board, I'm going to do a budget computer, I think, with the i5 that we take out of the 6th gen. So we're going to go through this memory, see what's good and bad, use what we can. I think all of it was good, but it showed 24 gigs of memory when it booted up, so I'm not sure about that. I'm going to turn it off and do one more power up for you so you can see it from scratch. So you hear the CPU cooler there. We get the lights on, and then we should light up here. Right there. So there's the CPU showing the frequency that was running at. Can we pull that back out? Yeah, there we go. 32 gigs of RAM. So it is showing the RAM right, running at 2400 megahertz. There's the CPU frequency at about 4.5. And it shows your voltages down there. So that does show it to us. That's a good feature there. I thought it did when you booted it up. I just didn't know on that board how to get to it. So there you go, Gigabyte. So that's gonna, I guess we're gonna do some other stuff to it because we wanna test some more stuff. We obviously want to get that 1070 tested. I may throw a test bench up here for that, but I have to find a power supply to test it with. So that'll be the next part, is you'll see me test that. We need to figure out which computer we need to put this in. I've never had a capture card before, so I'm not entirely sure how I want to do it, but I'm gonna need some pretty long HDMI cables if I capture that on the streaming rig. So maybe you just capture it on a laptop or a computer next to you. I don't know. You guys and gals might have to help me on that one. But it works. I mean, we have a working system here. We do have the dead USB port, but we're going to use the 6th gen Intel board. That's going to go in the Bling 2 case that you see me working on, and it's going to get the 7700K processor. All right, on the Marketplace Find graphics card, the GTX 1070 FTW. We're getting ready to test it. I got it in Bling 2, and believe it or not, it's got the Alienware board in it. So if you wondered what I was doing with that, it's not staying in Bling 2, but I thought about putting it in here and keeping it in here. I do have the power switch hooked up to it. I found the 2 pins you need to hook it to, but it's still giving us an error in the BIOS, so I have to figure out a way around that. Everything's hooked up in here and working though. I didn't get the IO shield in for it yet, so this is the IO mesh. I bought that and I built this IO shield right here with the IO mesh. So this is an option if you get a board or a computer that doesn't have an IO shield. I'll show you the box for it. It comes with the pliers to trim those shields out. I'll reach in here and grab one so you see. These shields are plastic. They pop right in like your regular IO shield, and you just trim around. You literally trim around where you want, where your holes are at. So you trim around this for your circle hole, and then all these right here and your USB ports. It comes with these nice little cutting pliers here. I'll try to get them out too. I was going to show you a video of doing this, and I got one more shield left, and I have the perfect motherboard in mind to do it. But we don't really have a case or anything we're going to put it in right now, so that would be later down the road. But I went ahead and burnt one since it come with 2 of them, and I can't get the pliers out. We'll mess with that later, but it comes with the pliers to cut your little holes and stuff out for this. And it is called IO mesh right here. So that's the box for it. I think it was $20 some on Amazon, so not too terrible. And it again, you can cut 2 IO shields out of what you got. So this is what we cut and put in here, and it's not staying because I ordered a repop IO shield from eBay to put in it. But right now we just want to test this GTX 1070. I'm pretty sure it's going to work fine. We're going to flip the power switch on. That part didn't work, did it? Well, just when I said that I had that power switch hooked up and working, I believe it might have fallen off here. So let's try it again. That doesn't work. Great. Grand. Perfect. I'm gonna cut you off and see what happened to it, because it was working fine. It don't fit those pins good, and that's probably what happened, but we'll see. All right, we jump started it with the screwdriver. I don't think we were making good contact with our pins on the switch, but I had the switch working last night, so I just don't think we're making good contacts on it. But we should light up now. We have the 1070 hooked up. We just got the mouse, and there we go. We're lighting up in the windows now. So perfect, and there's the error we get. Check the following: power button cable failure. So I don't know if I need to find the factory power button. It's flashing a code for it too on my caps lock key, but that's fine. We don't care about that. We have Windows loaded on this thing, so we're going to head right into Windows. We don't check the media presence because we know we have an NVMe drive installed in here. And I even know what size it is, so we don't need to bother with none of this stuff. The biggest thing is just checking to make sure this comes on, and I don't know what's taking it so long now. It was loading that stuff up. You just hit the escape key and it'll go right to the boot, but this thing was working perfect before I turned the camera on. That's how it always goes. And then you turn the camera on and it wants to do crap like this. So go figure that one out, right? All right, of course I let it aggravate me before I got it to boot into Windows, right? This had the same thing in it. What am I doing here? Display settings. I'm gonna change the resolution to what it should be. Keep it, and it's putting the graphics drivers in, but it already had the 1070 drivers in it. This is just a different brand of card. It had a Zotac card in it. This is a EVGA GT or GeForce GTX 1070 FTW. So that's a for the win, I guess. And we'll show you that in the display manager, device manager right there. Display adapters, we have the UHD Graphics 630 and we have the GTX, let's see if we can highlight it, GTX 1070 right there. So the graphics card is working. We're going to fast forward you through a Nova Bench, and that way we can both confirm that it's working properly. So let's open up Nova Bench on our Alienware, and we have scores for a 1070 because I'm pretty sure I've ran Nova Bench on this before. So all that works out good for us, so we'll even have scores to compare it. Last score on this was a 2307. We went 327 on the Zotac 1070. So let's go up here to the home screen, start the benchmarks, and fast forward you through it. That is still a solid score for this thing, 2148. We lost a little on the CPU on that test, which tells me it's probably working on something in the background. It's usually what causes that. Lost just a little bit on the memory, not much. Went 333 on that graphics though, and we only went 321 on it before, so that was 77 FPS in Direct3D 11. It tells you to compute the memory test and all that. And we went the same frame rates, but we got better memory transfer speeds on this one versus the Zotac one. So this one worked a little better than the Zotac when it come to that, and we got better frame rates for it. So if you go to report, this system ranks higher than 75% of all systems tested. So that's not, there was a little frame stutter detected though, it says. This is with the Alienware. So we're testing it in the Alienware Aurora R7. Alright, so we did it on Marketplace this time, on Father's Day here. We were able to get a system that works, and you can't beat that. That's what it's all about right there. So we got a working system here. 32 gigs of RAM, i7 7700K. No power supply. We got the FSP case, which is actually a really nice little case. So I guess this will be Bling 3 when I'm done. I don't know. I'm pretty sure those are probably ARGB, but we'll get them plugged in and find out. But If not, we'll probably just make them that way. I am going to have to go back by the seller's place and get the bracket for the power supply. Either that, or I'm going to go out to the shop and fab one up. It's not that big of a deal, really. Just to fab up a bracket that'll go around here. Well, if you look at this, those bolt holes, and then drill these bolt holes in it, and you could make your own bracket pretty easily, I would say. But the 1070 tested out good in bling number 2, so let me go ahead and tell you what's going to happen here. You might get confused on it. Let's not tell you what's going to happen. Let's just show you the Marketplace Find, and we'll end the video with this one.